actually coming out and introducing brands that are going viral. So when I was 22, I wasn't doing what she's doing. She's a publisher of a magazine. High five, girlfriend. You're 22. I have to verify that. 22. And you've just done such an amazing job. And to come out with a magazine, a global magazine, that tells stories, that every story matters, and while you're still in university. The show, actually.
Okay, so Afrokanist magazine is biannual. Learns to write, the story will be told by the hunter. So we are the lion that disapproves of the hunter's narrative. So we create our narrative, and the concept is every story matters. So we create an archive of African stories specifically for young Africans. That's what
right. So in a way, you want to leave a legacy. You want the Africans that are coming behind us, especially us, the older ones. You want our stories to be read by you guys, for the younger people. Is that what you're trying to say?
Okay, it's a mixture of both. So we want your story, but our focus is on the younger generation. I mean, there's an African proverb which is, the land isn't given to you by your ancestors, it's borrowed from your children. So what we do, as much as it's for now, it's also for the generation and the generation to come after that.
Wow, brilliant. Now, I must say, okay, you're still at university.
I graduated in September.
You graduated in September.
Yes.
And you were studying politics.
Social, culture and politics studies.
Which is not easy. So where did you get the time to fit in, magazine publishing?
Right.
Because it takes quite a lot of time and effort to do so.
Okay, so my second year of uni, I started the first ever Pan-African Society at Goldsmith University. And I hosted a few figures, Samuel Nkrumah, ex-member of the Black Panther, Mr. Evanson, and people from the Ogoni land. And what I realized was, I will soon graduate and I need to take this further than just hosting events. So I decided to create something that young people would read and be proud of, and to create a dialogue within ourselves as young Africans, for ourselves as young Africans. So,
did you find that maybe African stories, the young African stories, are not being told as much as they should? Because as I flicked through the magazine, it's a sea of young people doing amazing things. Was that the reason, one of the reasons why you wanted the African voices out there?
Okay, so I felt like we weren't being represented in academia, in media, and the problem is the media shapes perceptions. The media shapes what you know as reality. When you're not represented in the media, it means you're not, it denies your existence. So for me, we are doing a lot. Yes. We're not the voiceless, we just don't have that platform to express what we're doing. So what we've done with Afrokanist is we've brought all the noise onto one platform.
Do you think there's a revolution? Something has changed? Because back then, the youth were driven by what was out there in the media. But it seems that the things have turned, the stones have turned, and it's the other way around. The youth are now the ones driving what they want to see. I mean, why is that?
I would say, first of all, we're thankful to our parents that came to abroad or wherever they are, struggling, because they've worked hard for us to actually pursue our passion. And secondly, I would say it's new technology, social media and the new world we live in has taught us that you don't need to live in a world where you have to take brackets. You could go outside of the box and create something. And this is inspiring for a lot of young people, and there are a lot of creators out there.
Wow, brilliant. Now, what did you find, obviously while doing your research for the magazine, what did you find that young Africans in the diaspora are into? What are they into, really?
Okay, so a lot of I'm Nigerian,
yes.
And if you for example, tell your Nigerian father that I want to study art, it will be like, why can't you be a lawyer
Now,
or a doctor?
Africans have changed.
Yeah, it has changed. And here's the thing, because of that change, a lot of young people are able to express what they want. So I found a lot of young Africans are into art, culture, politics, and, we are doing amazingly well. The girl, the lady on the front cover, Habiba Kufajallo, she's a 19-year-old Canadian, Guinean, Jamaican, and she went to Addis Ababa. She found out about obstetric fistula, which affects women's health, and she created a children's book to teach children about women's health and the cure and how to prevent obstetric fistula, which is just an example.
Wow, brilliant. I'm just really amazed at how much the young African in the diaspora is doing. What about the African in Africa?
In Africa.
Do you think they're doing as much as they should do? Again, going back into politics, which you have studied, almost 70% of the voting population is the young Africans. But are they really part of the policies that are being made? Because the youth unemployment in Africa is still quite high.
Yes. Well, what I found out, we have 2 people working for us in Abuja, Medina, Mishan, and Caesar. And what I found out is there are a lot of young Africans in African countries doing a lot, but then it's down to opportunity. They're not being given the opportunity, they're not being supported.
They're still being seen as, okay, wait for the future, you're the future.
Precisely.
They're not being given the baton right now.
Yeah, but you do have the minority that are, they regardless of what they've been told, wait for opportunity. They go out there and create opportunities. So in the magazine, we actually interviewed Umar Yakubu, who is in northern Nigeria, and he creates 3D hands for amputees or victims of war. And that's in northern Nigeria, and we're not hearing about that. Exactly. So they are doing a lot.
These are the stories that you research and bring out.
Precisely. Yes.
Wow, incredible. And what has the journey been like? I mean, at 22, I would imagine how many doors that you've knocked and how many have closed, how many have almost, slammed in your face.
Well, it's been an experience, but I learned this from my dad, which is whatever you want, you call it into existence. And the most, at least 90% act of believing is doing. So I believe I can achieve, I go out and create it. And what I find more challenging was the personal growth. So graduating university and going into the business world, I found it quite challenging, but it is a challenge that gives me that adrenaline to keep going. So it is something I enjoy.
Wow. Yeah, there's something always in every African magazine, especially where there's a lot of women featured, they're always talking about natural hair, this natural hair thing. What's going on there?
Right, so in this article called As the Natural Hair Phenomenon Escapes Africa, a young lady, Tiffany, went to Ghana, and she has Team Natural, as you call it. And what she found amazing was in Ghana, she was advised to relax her hair. She was
in Ghana.
Yes.
What year was that?
This was 2 years ago.
Right, which is quite recent.
Yes, she was advised to relax her hair. She couldn't find a natural hair, hair salon. So for her, it's a problem because here in the diaspora, we're all about natural hair.
We're all who's the natural hair, yes.
But for me, it isn't a surprise really, because you have to step out of your house to know what's happening around it, which is why we are able to